Good evening, everyone. Okay, let's start today's session. Okay, is the PPT visible to you? Okay. System with, can anyone respond? Is the PPT visible? Okay, I think it's visible. So let's start. So before starting, um, we will discuss what we have covered till now and what we will do today so that we can establish a link between the previous one and the today's lesson. So first of all, we had discussed about the aims of higher education, how higher education is related to society and different aspects of society. Then what are the different constitutional provisions regarding Indian higher education and higher education through different 5-year plans, then higher education and what are the problems of contemporary Indian society, and after the problem, what the solution we get, that is the WTO or World Trade Organization and GATS. These things we have already discussed, and after that, as the higher education was growing day after day, then there is another concept emerged from the different statistics. We also know that the higher education institutions or the statistics of higher education institutions show that the institutions are less in number as compared to the students enrolled in different courses. That's why there is the emergence of ODL or open and distance learning, quality assurance, and evolving role of university teacher. These parts we will discuss today. So, when the need of emergence of alternative channel, open and distance learning are the alternative channels that the alternative channels of learning is created to address the diversified needs of the students and facilitate continuing professional development and deploy different information and communication technology for meeting the learning style and reduce the cost of education and training while maintaining its quality. That's why there is emergence of open and distance learning in the higher education system. So today we will discuss in the open and distance learning what are some of the global changes that occurred and what is their impact on higher education, and also we will discuss about some issues and challenges the higher educations are facing in India today, then distance education in India and its present status, and what are the challenges faced by distance education, and how it will proceed in the future. Then we will discuss about the quality assurance cell and what is the role of university teachers. So first we will discuss what are the global changes or globalization process. So, what are the global changes or globalization process? So the globalization is a new technique of establishing recognition of man, society, and nation. When we are making our sense broader, then the concept of globalization arises, and it is for establishing a recognition of man, society, and nation, and it also brings about a healthy attitude in the actions and interaction among the nations. Globalization also develops interest among different nations towards one another for their mutual action and interaction and economic development of different countries. So, if we will see what is the meaning of globalization, then you can see the multidimensional cross border integration, which includes the cultural, social, economic, and political dimensions. When we wanted to uh, cross the country for flow of information, then the concept of globalization came into existence. Then the International Monetary Fund, how it defines globalization as the growing economic interdependence of countries worldwide through increasing the volume and variety of cross-border transactions in goods and international capital flows, and also through the more rapid and widespread diffusion of technology. That is the definition given by the IMF. And globalization leads to sharing of knowledge. Then, what are the different characteristics of globalization? If you will see in different terms, the characteristics may differ. So, in economic term, a transition from Fordist to post-Fordist form of workplace organization, a rise of internationalized advertising and consumption pattern, a reduction in barrier to free flow of goods, workers, and investment across national borders, and correspondingly new pressure on the roles of worker and consumer in society. That is called as that is the one characteristic according to globalization. Then in political term, if you will see a certain loss of nation state sovereignty, or at least the erosion of national autonomy, and correspondingly a weakening of the notion of citizen as a unified and unifying concept. That is the meaning of globalization in political term, loss of sovereignty. Then in cultural term, you will see a tension between the ways in which globalization brings forth more standardization and cultural homogeneity, while also bringing more fragmentation at the local level. Then, if we will consider the need and importance of globalization, then you can see what are the reason behind the globalization of education. There are various reasons why globalization is important. So you can see first, there has been tremendous improvement and unprecedented development both internally and externally in the process of transformation and communication. Due to the expansion of mass media like newspaper, radio, and television, all the countries of the world have come nearer to one another. And it has become necessary for us to discover new resources for the fulfillment of our needs, which have increased much due to the explosion of population, urbanization, industrialization. Then we try to connect with each other. The development of science and technology has become important with a view to increase production and maintain its quality. The nations of the world have been developing owing to trade at the world level in agriculture, industry, minerals, and defense. And globalization has been a very important factor for developing international understanding. All the nations of the world have been forced to give a thought on international platforms in order to find a solution to the cleanliness and purity of the environment. Natural calamities, different diseases like AIDS, population explosion, poverty, and unemployment. So that's why they wanted to unite with each other, integrate their technologies available with them so that we can come out of the global problems. Then globalization has become inevitable to change the theoretical conception of world citizenship into a practical one. And it has become essential in the sense that wars, riots, earthquake, flood, tsunami, and drought occurring in one country affect all other countries of the world. So these are the reasons why there is a need of globalization. So globalization of and then we will discuss globalization of higher education. But before that, we can also know that some of the economic changes and some of the technological changes and political developments in the past few decades, which stimulate, which promote the globalization process. So when that's why we have discussed in the previous class also the gut which was developed after that WTO was developed. So economic changes in the form of liberalization, marketization, and global economic reforms like your gut have created economic imbalances in developing economies of many nations. And this trend has facilitated privatization, internationalization, and increasing role of multinational agencies in various sectors of society and economy, including education. The private sector is looking for opportunities in various aspects of the economy, and the equation between demand and supply is changing with coming up of newer consumers with newer demand for consumption of goods and services. With reduction in public investment and increasing privatization of production and distribution of goods and services, new equations are being established for national and regional economic centers and cost centers. The trend has adversely affected the disadvantaged community of the society. So this is the economic changes, how these economic changes promote the globalization or globalization process. Then there have been tremendous technological developments in the sector of communication and information technology, and the advent of internet has deeply affected the traditional socio-economic culture and the way of thinking and living. Technology has permeated every sphere of life, including education and training. Technology is being visualized to increase access to education and reform the quality of instructional and support provisions. And in many spheres of life, including lifelong education, your convergence of means and media is leading to some unthinkable equations, strategies, processes, and novel provisions for planning, designing, and delivery of instruction. So this is one of the reason and one of the cause that promote globalization. There have been also significant political development in the past few decades, and the some of the notable developments are disintegration of the Soviet Union into a few independent nations. The and the beginning of democracy in South Africa, reorganization of democracy in Afghanistan and Iraq. The political changes also have necessitated the rebuilding of societies, bringing in demands for equality, equity, and access in education. The newly emerging nations and democratization have placed premium on human resource development and education for all. And some other global changes are occurring at that time which affect the international, regional, national, and local institution and also the lifestyles. So these changes also affect the higher education all over the world. So the global changes affecting the higher education, which global changes are affecting the higher education? Then these are the reasons. That's why there is a need and globalization become important. Then what happened when globalization occurred? Then what happened? What results we get due to globalization? Some economic imbalances in the developing economies of many nations. Many nations became economically imbalanced who are the developing economies. And the economic changes in the form of this liberalization, marketization, global economy reform like God created economy of many nations. Then this is due to this privatization, internationalization, and multinational agencies grow. Just a minute, just a minute. Yes. Then what are the global changes affecting the higher education? That what is my where is my PPT? Okay, these are the results. Then we had tremendous technological development. We have discussed significant political development. Then what are the global changes that affect higher education? The higher education has been under pressure from both funding agencies and various other stakeholders to be efficient, responsive, flexible, and vibrant. And in many countries, there has not been a commensurate increase in expenditure on education with every increase in gross national product. Within educational expenditure, that for higher and further education is decreasing. The post secondary institutions are being asked to generate resources from other than government sources and especially from increase in student fees. Then globalization has been very imposing on higher education. Not only new partnership, alliance, and consortia are emerging, but also individual institutions are under pressure to cater to the needs of diversified student groups and thereby broad base and internalize curriculum and instruction. ठीक है, खाली 40 मिनट से गैस रखी दी। Okay, globalization also demands that educational resources be pooled to avoid duplication and for purposes of efficiency with provision for local variation in curricular inputs for meeting local needs of the community. Uh, that is the basic reason that when the number of students increased and student diversity also increased, but there is a pressure on the higher education institution because we have not that much of institutions growing in our country, then it creates a new need. So this is the and that's why globalization, and it also demands that educational resources be pooled to avoid duplication and for purpose of efficiency. Then there is the need of increasing efficiency with the provision of local variation and curricular inputs for meeting local needs of the community. Then technologization, that means integration of technology. When technology is integrated and electronification of higher education has put undue pressure on institutions to create provision for and base curricular designs on new technologies. So that has also created a pressure on the higher education institutions. Then this has also been hello. हाँ हाँ सेकेंड में। अच्छा जल्दी टिक है। Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay, then technologization and electronification of higher education has put undue pressure on institutions to create provision for and base curricular designs on new technologies. And this has also been argued from the point of view that varied learning styles of diversified groups of learners and especially the gap between the mainstream and first generation learner could be taken care by inputs from a variety of media through provisions of multi-channel learning. And the latest development of web-based online learning has created a new paradigm in instructional design and instructional management and has created new provisions of costing and the possibility of economy of scale. So, how this is how the global changes are affecting higher education in different ways, starting from the um, pressure of funding agency, technology, and in every corner, diversified learner. And when there is a gap created between first generation learner and the mainstream learner, so all these pressures are created on the higher education system. And with the increasing diversity in student population and concomitant curricular provisions, the issue of quality assurance and accreditation are assuming greater significance. While institutional, departmental, and individual faculty performance are being evaluated and related to funding provisions, the institutions are under increasing pressure to let themselves go through process of accreditation. This is an important aspect. ଯେତେବେଳେ student population ବଢ଼ିଲା डिमांड बढ़ला प्रेसर बढ़ला सिस्टम उपरे ସେତେବେଳେ ଦେଖାଗଲା ଯେ whether there is quality or not. That's why the issue of quality assurance come into existence. Quality assurance, whether the institution is assuring quality or not. And for this purpose there was the necessity of accreditation process. It was thought that the accreditation process will provide, assume a greater significance of the higher education. That's why there is a need of quality assurance and accreditation. जोटा ଏବେ ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛୁ NAC ନାଁରେ international benchmarks are being put up for conforming to such standards, and also institutions are required to satisfy various accrediting bodies or councils for different programs of study separately. So, when the international benchmarks are put up, then different organizations they put out different benchmark for the quality assurance, and also the institution started satisfying various accrediting bodies, and accordingly they have organized different activities in their institution for getting their accreditation from different accrediting councils for different programs of study separately. Also this has created a problem. So there is also unexpected pressure on the post secondary institutions to expand provision to accommodate an ever increasing student population. So while physical infrastructure and facilities are very difficult to expand, alternative channels of learning are put in place to make a balance between scale and quality. So that's why, due to so many causes, so many pressures arising on the higher education institution, they search for an alternative place to make balance between the quality and scale. So quality concern when comes at that time, there is a tremendous pressure on different educational institution, higher education institutions, so that there is the emergence of the distance, open and distance learning. Then community education is emerging as an important dimension of lifelong education, and alternative educational provisions beyond the extension programs of higher education institutions are being explored to meet this growing need. Education, training, and research are being called for to serve the need of the local community. So, at the same time, with the higher education, there is the need for the alternative education. Alternative education along with lifelong learning, जोटिक lifelong learning ହେଇପାରିବ ସେଇ ପ୍ରକାର education ଗୋଟେ ସେତେବେଳେ ଆବଶ୍ୟକତା ଥିଲା। ତେଣୁ ସେ ଲାଇଫ୍ ଲଙ୍ଗ୍ ଲର୍ଣ୍ଣିଂ କଥା ଯେତେବେଳେ ଚିନ୍ତା କରାଗଲା, ଦେନ୍ ଏକ୍ସଟେନସନ୍ ପ୍ରୋଗ୍ରାମ୍ ହେଉଥିଲା। ସେତେବେଳେ ଆଗରୁ ଇଭିନିଂ କଲେଜ ବି ଖୋଲା ହେଇଥିଲା କିଛି ଜାଗାରେ, ଇଭିନିଂ କଲେଜ ଯୋଉଠି ପଢ଼ୁଥିଲେ ଯାଇକି ଇଭିନିଂରେ, ଯେଉଁମାନେ ଦିନ ବେଳେ କାମ କରୁଥିଲେ ଇଭିନିଂରେ ପଢ଼ିପାରିବେ ବୋଲି ଇଭିନିଂ କଲେଜ ସବୁ ଖୋଲା ହେଇଥିଲା। ସୋ to meet the growing need, as the need was growing, that's why that type of arrangement were done. And after that, with the increasing job mobility, specialization, and the need for multi-skilling and constant updation, the continuous professional development has greater significance in various professional areas. That's why there is the need of emergence of um, opponent distance learning in India. Then again, we will discuss some other issues and challenges of higher education in India. So, what are the common challenges? So, the above reasons what we have discussed here on development of higher education, which provide a perspective within which we look at development in higher education in India, including the emergence of the ODL. So, these are the reasons how, or these are the developments which occurred, and that results in the emergence of ODL. The structure of higher education, from which you can see that the amount of time one need to spend on different level of education in the country are different, and such type of education system uh, had its origin in the Gurukul system of the ancient time, and it has evolved through the internationally recognized centers of learning at Nalanda and Taxila, and further reforms during British rule occurred. And starting with 18 universities and 591 colleges at the time of independence in 1947, there were 18 universities and 591 colleges, and these have also increased above 300 universities and 14,000 colleges. And the increase in the number of universities during 2003 is also due to the opening up of the uh, six course. That means the course of the university in the newly created state of Chhattisgarh create with the approval of receipt from the state government. And in India, we have the second largest system of higher education with over 9 million students. In India, we have above 9 million students and 3.5 million teachers. While more than 88% of students study in undergraduate program, and 5% and 3.5% study in engineering and technology and medicine, but 88% that is in they are in the undergraduate program. So such a vast number of students, increase in the student structure, obviously created some issues and challenges. So some of the common challenges are with the increasing of enrollment at the school level, the supply of higher education institute is insufficient to meet the growing demand in the country. Government is continuously focusing on quality education. Still, a large number of colleges and universities in India are unable to meet the minimum requirements laid down by the UGC, and the universities are not in a position to mark their place among the top universities of the world. Increasing interference of politicians in the management of higher education jeopardize the autonomy of the higher education institution. This is a problem also. Poor infrastructure is another challenge to the higher education system in India. Particularly, the institution run by the public sector suffer from poor physical facilities and infrastructure. As we have discussed previously also, that when the number increases, demand increases, then and the placement of our funds towards education is less. That's why more fund is diverted towards the higher education system, but still it is it is the short amount. That's why our infrastructure is very poor. So, with regard to introduction of ODL, open and distance learning, what are the challenges occurred? The pressure on institution of higher learning is tremendous, and all the central, state, and deemed to be universities and institutions of national importance have not been able to meet the need for increasing aspiration of education. Apart from the private institution, The central government is proposing to expand the provision for distance learning so as to accommodate at least half of the future demand for higher learning through this mode. And while the distance learning system caters to about 20% of all higher education students, it is expected to increase the intake of about 40% in the 10th plan. So 40% if it will expected to take the students burden of 40%, then we may adjust to the higher education institutions which are existing physically. Then funding has been a major issue with decreasing resource allocation for higher education. Universities are required to mobilize additional resources from either increasing students' fee or tapping other sources like expansion of university industry linkage and offering distance learning program. So universities are asked to offer the distance learning program. Now also you can compare the situations at that time and in the present time after NEP 2020. Then quality accrediting issues जो कथा हमें कहले जे जेतु हमर बढ़ी गला नंबर ऑफ इंस्टीट्यूशन बढ़िला then ताको गोटे कंटीन्यूअस प्रोफेशनल डेवलपमेंट दबा फंड दबा ताको ग्लोबलाइजेशन प्रोसेस रे शामिल करबा क्वालिटी ऑफ एक्रेडिटेशन बढ़ेबा क्वालिटी एंड एक्रेडिटेशन ऊपर फोकस करबा ये सब गोटे गोटे इश्यू हेके देखा देला तेणु क्वालिटी एक्रेडिटेशन रे कौन कौन इश्यूज आसला क्वालिटी एश्योरेंस रिक्वायर ह्यूमन इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर pedagogic, financial, and other resources to be utilized to conform upon standards so that the inputs, process, and output can be improved in respective areas. The National Assessment and Accreditation Council, that is popularly known as NAC, of the UGC, and the National Board of Accreditation of the AICT are responsible for institutional and program evaluation and for providing accredited status to institutions of higher learning. Universities are also required to conform to the standards set by various other councils like Medical Council of India, Indian Nursing Council, National Council of for Teacher Education, as also the Distance Education Council of Indira Gandhi National Open University. Globalization and global pressure for reform, including the re-engineering, restructuring, and transforming, have led universities to rethink about the curriculum, instructional strategy involving more ICT-enabled education, expansion of training and continuous professional development, or lifelong learning provisions, international students' needs, and quality benchmarking. So there is a pressure for reform in the globalization process, and this involves competition and formation of strategic alliance. While many of the universities are getting into more of strategic planning, only a few have adopted holistic planning which involve the system-wide implementation of especially ICT-enabled teaching, training, research, extension, management services, and evaluation. So this when a competition is created, then they wanted that we will develop some strategy to meet the need of the present day. So that's why they made the strategic planning, neglecting the holistic planning. Then curriculum upgrading, updating, and diversification is still a central issue in the universities. While most have not even updated and transformed in the patterns suggested by the University Grant Commission through their curriculum development cell, There is also an increasing need to diversify curriculum and course structure to meet emerging specialized need for education and training. Extension has remained an elusive aspect of curriculum and so has quality research. So all these some of the parts gets neglected due to such type of pressures generated on the university due to the globalization process. Then continuing professional development in various professions and professional development of college and university teachers are areas of significant concern to educational planners and administrators. So there were no continuous development, professional development program from the professionals. So many of the universities do not have programs made for continuing professional development and training needs of various economic and development sectors. Moreover, even on the academic staff colleges have been inadequate. Academic staff colleges are there for the continuous professional development of the educational professional of higher education institutions. So this when there is the increase in the demand for the professional development of the professors or the professionals, then academic staff colleges have been also inadequate to cater to the CPD need, continuous professional development need of the university and college teachers. So that's why emergence of distance education. So here also you can, in this context, you can also reflect on the different issues which were created on the higher education and and you can reflect on this and you can write the notes on how what are the different issues and whether the issues are existing till now or not, how these issues are in the development process, how these issues are solved or whether these issues are existing till now. You can think or reflect yourself on these issues also. Then what happened? Then emergence of distance education. Then distance education in the form of correspondence education was recommended as a reformative measure by the three delegations sent by the government of India during 1967 to 71 to the erstwhile USSR, and the recommendation of the delegations were extremely useful to those involved in establishing the complementary mode of correspondence or distance education. First, it was in the form of correspondence education. Some people who were there and they were not able to go to the regular classes, they were attending the correspondence course. However, the initiation of correspondence course at the University of Delhi in 1962 with 1,112 students at the undergraduate level, and the subsequent developments in this stream of education was hardly intended as a policy to address many of the issues and challenges discussed above for the Indian higher education system. The correspondence education was intended to provide further opportunities to those who has either missed formal education or could not afford it or even could not have required grades to get admitted to it, so they opted for the correspondence education. The other objectives included generation of additional resources to fund the conventional education and research, as also to partially offset campus unrest. So some people who are not acquainted or not getting themselves acquainted with the conventional system of education, they were opting for the correspondence course. So if such things, such are the some, these are the reasons or objectives of initiating open and distance learning system in other parts of the world, Then social access and equity were the other objective of setting up the open and distance learning system. So these are the not only the objective. What are the objective? The objective was also social access and equity. Those who are unable to get into the conventional education or what is going on in offline mode or in the regular mode, they will opt for the open and distance learning system. So that was one of the objective of the open and distance learning system. Then, subsequent to the initiation of correspondence course in the University of Delhi, many universities, especially in the northern part of our country, started correspondence courses. Though the fifth five-year plan, which was 1974 to 79, had envisaged that about 25% of students of the relevant age group will study higher education through correspondence. The enrollment in 76 to 79 was only 2.58% of the total higher education enrollment. So, जो 25% ପାଇଁ ସେମାନେ decide କରିଥିଲେ କିନ୍ତୁ ଦେଖାଗଲେ 2.5% only enroll କରିଛନ୍ତି. The establishment of an open university in the state of Andhra Pradesh did not change access quantitatively in higher education, though the system ushered in a new era of openness and flexibility. Though there is flexibility and openness, but it never changed the quantitative growth. And in 1988-89, that means after implementation of the 86 policy, the enrollment rose to 10%. From 2.58% to it rose to 10%, which stands about 20% today. The establishment of IGNO in 1985, which offered programs in 1987, so it ushered an era of quality higher education and training at a distance while pursuing the policy of access and equity. So it is one of the first open university IGNO which ushered the quality higher education. Also, ICT was used in a large scale for the first time in the higher education in the country. IGNO was the first to use ICT in the open education system. Though many of the correspondence courses institutes had diversified course offer, but IGNO offered largely unconventional programs at certificate and diploma level, besides programs for human resource development, continuing professional development in various developmental and extension and community development programs. However, its reformative bachelor's degree program still stands out at the forefront of its policy of higher education for all. So, IGNO is the leading open and distance education system. In the year 2003, there are 12 open universities and 104 correspondence course institutions of dual mode universities which offer programs at a distance and cater to about 20% of higher education students. So data shows that on TEP 10 open universities for 2002 relating to various aspects, you can see in a table given in your material also. The program of National Open University include largely unconventional areas including your human rights, women empowerment, maternal child health, also human resource development, continuing education programs at certificate, diploma, undergraduate, postgraduate and doctoral level. So this type of unconventional program, the National Open University also included in the course, which is there in IGNO till now also. So there are other university, 10 open universities were there. For example, your Baba Sahib Ambedkar Open University, Karnataka State Open University, Netaji Subhas Open University. So like this, 10 universities are there. Besides this, there are some other facts that are unique to the distance education system in India. What are the uniqueness of the distance education system in India was that IGNO has been created as a national university by the Indian Parliament. It receives direct funding from the Ministry of Human Resource Development and does not fall under the purview of UGC for funding, coordination, and accreditation. This is the achievement of IGNO at that time. So you should feel proud of it that we are studying in IGNO until now it is existing and it is a plus plus. NAC A++ grade. Then IGNO had been given the additional responsibility to fund, promote, coordinate, assure quality, and accredit the distance education system in the country through the Distance Education Council. This is also undergoing the accreditation process. The government of India has placed the only uplinking facility through a satellite transponder at IGNO for uplinking and broadcasting of educational training and extension program of IGNO. Have you ever watched the IGNO channel? Other distance education institution, UGC, NCERT, and other sector of education and training through its six television channel. Uh, it also provides international teleconferencing facility for distance education and training. Similarly, unlike any other institution, it operates FM radio stations for regional programming and broadcasting. During COVID, also you might have seen the Swayam Prabha channel. You just say ignore these channels are there, and so six channels are permitted. So IGNO's Distance Education Council has facilitated funding, quality assurance, and accreditation of state open universities and dual mode conventional university distance education programs. And the Government of India EduSat was to be tried out by IGNO for making it fully operational. Then what are the challenges before open and distance learning system? So IGNO has taken few initiatives which have wider implication for distance education system in particular and higher education in general. A few of these are here. A strong foundation of curriculum and instructional design with significant media mix to meet varied learning style of diversified learners. The modular and credit-based programs are more flexible, goal-oriented, learner-friendly, and both market and development-oriented. This is one of the initiative distance education program. It has a strong foundation of curriculum and instructional design, and also with the media mix. It has this you are provided with some video, some audio, online classes, and with a strong, well developed material. Then IGNO had initiated and still practices the policy of credit transfer and credit exemption, and this though needs to be extended to accreditation of prior learning and wider implementation of credit transfer, credit sharing, and joint degree programs. Then use of ICT on a large scale has strengthened the case for wider access to education, especially in remote and rural areas. The initiatives in the northeast region of the country through community information centers and also in the whole country through a tele-learning center further strengthen the cause. This is an area which needs further orientation to community, reducing the digital divide and addressing the issue of equities. The staff and human resource development on continuing basis has been major strength of the opponent distance learning, and it needs further strengthening of continuing professional development, widening the net to include conventional education, business, industry, and developmental sectors. Then the initiative towards collaboration, partnership, and networking have the potentiality to induce convergence of existing system and gear it towards a seamless system of education and training at all levels. Then internationalization of Indian education is a reality. While all universities in the country put together have about 11,000 international students on campus, IGNO has on campus 11,000 international students are reading, and IGNO has above one third of its site. So the issue is not that of number as much as of the offer of program through one window with a wider and flexible basket. IGNO. So some other things are there in spite of these are the initiatives taken, but by many open universities and conventional distance education program. The system also faces significant challenges like your research is the weakest link in the distance education system. While the based research need to be a bitter pill for distance education universities or institutions, distance teachers need by necessity to be engaged in researching discipline distance teaching. So research is a major area, major weak link, and educational access and equity still remain challenge for distance education. For example, when you were provided the online classes, then still there is challenge for someone to join due to network issue or some other issues. So whether the policies of access and equity have resulted in widening the and meeting the challenge, whether ICT have breached the digital divide and facilitated student learning, this is the issue. Whether ICT is integrated, this is an initiative, but whether it is able to breach the digital divide and facilitate the student learning, and whether the present instructional design and media mix have contributed to effective student learning, whether student learning is effective or not, that is a issue, and whether the present provision are flexible enough to cater for individual self-spacing and progress in credit accumulation. So these are some of the issues. Language has been also a major challenge in distance learning, and further the experimentation is also needed on interactive multimedia and online learning. Common and acceptable benchmarks are required for both conventional and distance education on the basis of common and specialized parameters. So far there has been expansion of the system at the cost of its consolidation. Can the system further expand in scale and size without consolidation? So this is a question here. So we now need to look back and consolidate our innovation, pull them together and converge. So this will provide considerable base to proceed further more progressively, intelligently, and economically to cater for qualitative and learner-friendly educational provisions. So these are some of the issues why the open and distance learning system emerges at the tertiary level or higher education level, how global changes affected it, and what is its impact on the higher education, what are the different issues faced by the higher education institutions in India, and when the issues are faced, then emergence occurred, open and distance learning or ODL emergence occur, and what are the challenges, what are the initiatives taken by open and distance learning system, and what are the challenges that are still faced by the distance education system. That was the point of discussion in this unit. Then next we will proceed to the quality assurance and accreditation in higher education. So we have discussed before that why there is the need, or what is the significance of quality assurance and accreditation, and in the particularly in the context of recent development in higher education and globalization of education. Then we will see the concept of quality assurance and accreditation in higher education, then the approach and methodology of quality assurance and accreditation, then what are the benefits of quality assurance, then recent progresses to identify major challenges to the quality assurance. So then we will discuss about the quality concerns. As we know that in recent times several developments have taken place which have changed the perceived requirements for quality assurance in higher education. And what are those requirements? What are the significance then in academic standards? Before that, I want to say something about the what are the developments that have taken place, and how it changed the quality assurance in higher education. So these are the expansion and diversification of higher education. Diversification ହେଇଛି higher education, expansion भी ହେଇଛି. So the national efforts to ensure education for all have resulted in widening of the basis of elementary and secondary education, and as a result the dramatic growth in higher education demand and provision over the past decades. So what happened, this also in response to growing and changing manpower requirement for the world of work, which require higher level of technical professional competency of work, and to be able to function in the knowledge intensive economy. So एक कथा भी हमें आगु कही साचे जेतले डिमांड बढ़िला सेतले हमर वर्किंग बा स्किल्ड प्रोफेशनल हमको दरकार हला बेलको द हायर एजुकेशन in some form has now become a mass phenomena, as increasing large number of students are likely to participate in this endeavor over their lifetime. So they are going to the higher education institution, so that higher education activities are a visible part of the society, and its contribution to national development and well-being are now being widely recognized by the government world over. And the increasing volume of activity, as the volume of activity is increasing and diversity of student population is also increasing, and it has led many institutions to review and diversify not only their course offering but many aspects of internal reorganization and teaching learning process. So there is a greater need to reorganize their teaching learning process and also coordinate different aspect of the internal organization. So the extent to which the relevant initiative by institution suitably respond to changing requirement of the society and economy need to be assessed to ensure institutional accountability to funding agency and other stakeholders. So what happened when diversification occur, expansion occur, so that various activities also expanded in the institution, and there is somewhere the lack of coordination and lack of communication may be there. So that's why there may be a feeling that it should be assessed, so that when it will be assessed then it is designed in such a way that the institution will feel accountable to the funding agency, what funds we are receiving and whether we are working properly for that funds or not. This is what is our accountability, whether we are giving the justice to the funding agencies or not. For that, assessment is necessary. The second factor, that is the demand for greater transparency and accountability. So, when the institution grows, expansion occurs, the diversification occurred, then obviously there is the increase of demand for greater transparency and accountability. So, when you have to manage a large number of students with a large number of higher education institutions, then obviously you have to maintain the transparency and accountability, and to confirm this transparency and accountability you need an assessment system. So globalization with international trend and higher education institutions are required to strengthen their reporting and accountability procedures. So limited resources are to be allocated among the different sectors on the basis of cost effectiveness of their programs. So there is a need for the assessment and transparency, and that will increase the accountability of teachers also. The next is, what is the impact of technology? The major development in the information technology have led to change in study requirements, teaching and learning arrangements, and in areas such as research organization and university administrative practice. So there is an increased focus on multimedia strategies for promoting teaching and learning, and this type of thing demand for review of traditional arrangements for quality assurance. This is the next is in third reason. Then fourth one is your emergence of non-traditional providers of higher education. The higher education, for example, the emergence of open and virtual universities, जोटाको आमे कहले distance education, the growth of private institution, growth of multi-campus transnational institution, and franchising has fragmented the higher education sector. So quality assurance mechanism have stood the test of time for a system essentially. So ଯେହେତु ବହୁତ ଗୁଡାକ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନ ହେଇଗଲେ, ବହୁତ ଭେରାଇଟିଜ ଅଫ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନ ହେଇଗଲେ, ପ୍ରାଇଭେଟ ଗଭର୍ଣ୍ଣମେଣ୍ଟ ସେ ଫ୍ରାଞ୍ଚାଇଜି ଆଣିକି କିଏ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନ କଲା, ତ ଭେରାଇଟିଜ ଅଫ ଯେହେତୁ ଇନଷ୍ଟିଟ୍ୟୁସନ ହେଇଗଲା, କ୍ୱାଲିଟି କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ମାର୍କରେ ଆସିଗଲା। ସୋ ସେଥିପାଇଁ କ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଏସ୍ୟୁରାନ୍ସ ମେକାନିଜିମ୍ need is very much needed at that time. Then global competitiveness बढ़ला. Global competitiveness, most higher education institutions have proved themselves highly effective and entrepreneurial in expanding their student intake both from within and beyond national borders. As there is an explicit policy for taking higher education abroad, this has become a major factor in India's external accounts through fee paying foreign students and the sale and promotion of services. Universities from many other countries are also in the market for enrolling students and providing services. So there is import as well as export of educational services. ଯେତେବେଳେ WTO ହେଲା, GATT ତାପରେ WTO ହେଲା, WTO ପରେ, so there is not only import and export of educational services were there. So India now faces an international environment in which success would depend on quality of the tertiary level. That means quality of the higher education system of teaching and research. Quality is very much become very much essential, and many countries have moved to develop national system of quality assurance, and India is no exception. Also, quality assurance India also adopted, and the prospective international students faced by the possibilities of studies may well feel such hallmarking process of external. So when you will go to anywhere, then you can say, yes, this is the quality, this is my A plus university or B plus or A plus plus university, I have passed from that. So This was the condition. So that's why the quality assurance system became essential. This is the significance why quality assurance system. Then what is the weakness of existing system of quality assurance? In significance we will come later. Okay, the quality assurance. When we are talking about quality assurance, then there exists also some weakness of quality assurance. First one is your current practices. The basic plan of for quality assurance framework is in the establishment of higher education institution. Um, they act as the self-accrediting institution through legislation and regulation, and the governing council have major responsibility for quality of educational provision, including academic standards. So, a number of external mechanisms for reviewing aspect of internal university activities are of long standing among the universities, and these include the use of external examiner for higher tasks done by research and some honors degree. The role of professional bodies and association in accrediting professional course such as medicine, law, engineering, etc. को accredited करिया पे तांको बाहरु external agency आनिया पे पड़ुथला. ତାର ଗୋଟେ ଇଣ୍ଟରନାଲ କ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଏସ୍ୟୁରାନ୍ସ ସେଲ୍ ଗୋଟେ ରହୁଥିଲା ଆଇକ୍ୟୁଏସି କରିକି ତା ବ୍ୟତୀତ ଏକ୍ସଟର୍ନାଲ ଏଜେନ୍ସି ମଧ୍ୟ ଆସୁଥିଲେ ଆକୁ ଏସ୍ୟୁର କରିବା ପାଇଁ. ତାର ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ କ'ଣ ଥିଲା ହ୍ୱାଟ ଆର୍ ଦ ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ୍ସ ଅଫ୍ କ୍ୱାଲିଟି ଏସ୍ୟୁରାନ୍ସ ନା ପ୍ରିନ୍ସିପଲ ଥିଲା ଦ ସିଷ୍ଟମ ସୁଡ୍ ବି ଟ୍ରାନ୍ସପାରେଣ୍ଟ and it should encourage rather than constant diversity and be sensitive to distinct mission of each institution. Then external quality assurance process should be consistent with the existing practices such as to complement institutional process rather than duplicating or replacing them. Here a system ଏଇଭଳିଆ ଥିଲା ଯେ you have all higher education institution has a quality assurance cell, an internal that is called as internal quality assurance cell. The internal quality assurance cell will first appraise its performance by themselves, the college or university that will appraise its performance first. Then the external quality assurance process will go on, and they will evaluate whether it is consistent with the existing practices or not. से जो ଦେଇଥିବେ ତାଙ୍କର self appraisal ସେଥିରେ ସେମାନେ true or false କ'ଣ ଦେଇଛନ୍ତି ତାକୁ external quality assurance କରାଯାଏ. Then criteria and process should be adaptable to a change in global environment and change in communication process. It should facilitate progressive improvement in standards, and it should provide for rigorous external verification of quality assurance strategies through peer review. ସେଥିରେ different system of review ଅଛି. ସେଥିରେ internal ଆଗ quality assurance cell ଯେ ରହିବ, internal quality assurance cell ରେ different member of the college or university ସେମାନେ ରହିବେ, starting from chairperson to different members system ଅଛି. They will constitute the IQAC or internal quality assurance cell, and after that what will happen, there is the external verification or external assurance, quality assurance will be done, and it is a rigorous process, and rigorously the externals verify the quality, and also they peer review it. Then quality assurance should cover the academic affairs of the institution relating to courses, staff qualification, research, academic administration, decision making mechanisms, and services and facilities in support of academic process. So these are the principles of quality assurance, how quality will be assured. Then what is quality assurance and accreditation? Okay, if you will see the detailed process of accreditation by NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council (NAC), and issues of quality assurance cell, then you can find the detailed thing. What NAC has formulated a three-stage process for assessment and accreditation. First one is your preparation of the self-study report by the institution to be submitted to the NAC. जोटा कहली जे self study report गोटे institution prepare करिवो and it will submit to the NAC. Then validation of the self-study report by peers visiting the institution. They will visit the institution and then they are the peer team and they will validate it whether you have submitted it, what you have submitted, that is right or wrong. They will validate it. Then the final decision of NAC based on the self-study report and the recommendation of the team of peers, then the NAC will take the final decision what grade to be assigned. So stage 1 is preparation of the self-study report. The first and the most important step in the process of assessment and accreditation is preparation of a self-study report by the institution along the guidelines formulated by NAC. The institution has to prepare the self-study report in two parts, where part 1 is the organization of data and part 2 is self-analysis based on part 1. First you have to collect or gather all the data in the given format. A format is given and you have to collect all the data in that format, organize the data, then self-analysis will be done, and this will be an internal exercise by the institution, expected to be done with honest introspection. It aims at providing an opportunity for the institution to measure its effectiveness and efficiency. That NAC team or the IQSC cell, IQSC committee is there in the institution, and it aims at measuring the effectiveness and efficiency of their own institution and identify areas of its strength and weaknesses. The NAC believes that an institution that really understands itself, its strengths and weaknesses, its potential and limitations is likely to be more successful in carrying out its educational mission than those without such self-awareness. ତେଣୁ IQSC ସେଥିପାଇଁ କରାଯାଇଛି NACରେ ଯେ first internally you assess yourself and get a whole picture of your institution, find out your strength and weaknesses, then you submit it so that you can know, you can be aware of your institution, your strength and weaknesses, and then you can take steps to for further development of your institution. The self-study is thus envisaged as the backbone of the process of assessment and accreditation. It is through the self-study report that NAC understands the institution, and the self-study informs and orients the peer team to assess the institution during their visit. The institution need to present the factual details of all aspects of its functioning. You cannot give the fake things. You have to give all the factual aspect of your functioning of the institution. That means the input, what is your teaching learning process, what is the product you are generating in a meaningful way. As the entire exercise would be based on this document, it should be prepared with utmost care, and self-study report give details which will help to make exercise effective. This is the first stage, preparation of self-study report, and it is the most important step in the NAC. And then the second step is the visit to the institution. They will then visit the institution. On receiving the self-study report from the institution, the NAC will decide on the panel of peers and inform the institution. If the institution has any reservation against any of the members, it can record its objection without suggesting alternatives. Choosing from among the other panel members, NAC will constitute the peer team. So then the NAC will declare the peer team, and if institution has some objection against anybody of the peer team, then it can be given chances to change that team member. And the team will visit the institution and look for pattern of evidence to validate the self-study report. The peers will interact with various constituents of the institution and also check documentary evidence to understand the functioning of the institution. And at the end of their visit, the chairperson of the team will present a detailed report on quality of education offered by the institution to the head of the institution, and a copy of the report with the acceptance of head of the institution will be forwarded to NAC. So they with the peer team, when they will visit, they will see physically what is happening, but the system is changed now. Presently there is an alternate system has been developed. It can be done online also. So then this is the second stage. Then third stage is final decision by the NAC. The executive committee of NAC will review the report and take a decision about the grade of the institution. The grade will be valid for a period of 5 years. Then what are the different units of assessment? The NAC has developed an instrument through the methodology and broad framework of the instrument are same. There is a slight difference in the focus of the instrument depending on the unit of assessment. There are two types of accreditation. One is institutional and another is departmental. With reference to the type of accreditation, some unit of assessment are there, like your institutional accreditation, university, college, and the departmental accreditation is given to department of any college. Then, what are the different criteria for assessment? How NAC assess? So, there are different criteria like your curricular aspect. It will evaluate your curricular aspect, and in curricular aspect, there are different sub points also. How your curriculum is working, how your curriculum you are developing your curriculum, how new aspects are integrated in your curriculum. Like this, curricular aspect includes so many things also. Then teaching, learning, and evaluation. Teaching, how is your teaching learning process going on? That is also one aspect. Then research, consultancy, and extension services. What the institution is carrying out. Then infrastructure and learning resources that are available in the institution. Then student support and progression. Under these headings, there are so many subheadings, so many details of the institution you have to provide. Organization and management. Then what are the healthy practices or innovative practices your institution is carrying on the, and these criteria are also given in some details. What are the student progress system like this. Then in grading system, there are different marks. Different marks are assigned to different areas like your curricular aspect, teaching, learning, and evaluation, research, consultancy, and extension, infrastructure and learning resources, student support, progression. Every area is given different marks, and they will grade you like A plus plus, A plus, A, B plus plus, B plus, B, C plus plus, C plus C, like this. They have the grading system. Um, what is about the grading system? The grade approach by the NAC is also supplemented by a qualitative report by the team that would highlight the strength and weakness of the institution. They will not only give mark, they will also highlight the strength and weakness of the institution under various criteria. Institution which do not attain the minimum 55% point of for accreditation are also intimated and notified that the institution is assessed and found not qualified for accreditation. And now after NEP 2020, it is a compulsory or mandatory criteria that your institution need to be accredited. Otherwise, you will not receive any grant and you will be declared as substandard at some point of time also. The range of mark of each letter or grade and actual total mark obtained as well as criteria wise marks are intimated to the institution and also notified. Similarly, when how NAC is doing, similarly the AICT control organization like your engineering, technical, management colleges, the National Board of Accreditation (NBA), it is giving the rank. The approach adopted by the National Board of Accreditation AICT for accreditation of technical, professional, and management institution is similar to NAC, but a distinct feature of NBS procedure is that it judges the institution on the basis of both the norms and guidelines which NBA has evolved for different types of institution as well as institutional performance. The criteria for assessing institutional performance and the weightage attached to the undergraduate and postgraduate program, like your undergraduate program, you have, it has the criteria like your human resource faculty, students, finance, physical resource, mission and goals, research development, industry institute interaction. It is an extra point there for NBA. Then what are the supplementary process, then the teaching learning process. So almost same NAC and NBA. Then, what are the recent progresses? These are the significance of accreditation, that quality assurance, then maintaining academic standard, enhancing students' learning experience, credibility and recognition, then facilitating transfer of credits, attracting students and faculty, global mobility and employment opportunity, assurance to employer and society, continuous improvement, accountability, fostering innovation, resource allocation and funding, then international partnership and collaboration. ଏଇ ସବୁ କାରଣରୁ ଆମକୁ accreditation କରିବା ଦରକାର NACର। ଏଇ ବେନିଫିଟ୍ ଗୁଡ଼ାକ ଆମକୁ ମିଳିବ। Then quality assurance in higher education. This is the definition that already discussed. Then what are the components? These are the components that is evaluated by NAC. The methods, then accreditation in higher education. This is the purpose, quality. Then criteria for assessment, we have discussed curricular aspect, academic flexibility, best practices in curricular aspect. Then teaching learning evaluation with a student enrollment profile, catering to diverse need, learning process, everything in detail. This is. Then other criteria is with ଆସିଲା research consultancy ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ସବୁ ରହିଲା, student support progression, organization and management, best practices. Then evolving professional role of university teachers. That is the next part. We will proceed. This is all about quality assurance. Then we will proceed to evolving professional role of university teachers. So here we will discuss about the teacher at university level plays the roles like teaching and research, extension function, managerial function, diversity and inclusion advocate, community engager, connector, global educator, policy contributor. Every function, these role have to be played by the teacher. Then profession and occupation. What is a profession? What is a occupation? I think this is in another PPT. Yes.
हेलो हेलो हेलो
Hello.
तो मैम किछिटा इंपोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन काइंडली टिके कहिबे कि
Sure, sure.
मैम टिके प्रेस्क्राइब करंदु ना
Who'da?
ले ଏଇ ଟପିକ୍ ରେ କିଛିଟା ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ ଟିକେ କୁହନ୍ତୁ।
ହଁ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ ମଝି ମଝିରେ ବି ମୁଁ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ କହିଛି ଆପଣ ଯଦି ଶୁଣିଥିବେ
ଆଜ୍ଞା ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ତାହେଲେ ମୁଁ ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଗୋଟେ ଗୋଟେ କୋଶ୍ଚିନ୍ କହିଛି ଯେ ହୋଲ କହୁଛନ୍ତି ଟୋଟାଲ ଯୋଉ 12-13ଟା ୟୁନିଟ ର କହିବି ଟିକେ ଏଇଟା ଛାଡି ଦେଇକି କହୁଛି ସବୁରୁ ଗୋଟେ କହିଦେବି।
ଆଜ୍ଞା।
ତ ଏଇଟା ହଉଛି ଲାଷ୍ଟ ପାର୍ଟ ଆମ ଟିଚର୍ସ ଇନ୍ ହାୟର ଏଜୁକେସନ ଖାଲି ଗୋଟେ ସ୍କ୍ରିନଶଟ ଟା ନେଇଯାଏ। ଓକେ ଏଇଟା କହିଦେଇ କହୁଛି। Teachers in higher education या भितर कौन कौन अच्छी ना each teaching a profession, each teaching a occupation. So this type of thing are there. What is a profession? Where expertise and training, a profession typically refers to a type of job that requires specialized education, training and skills. Professions are often associated with a high level of expertise in a particular field. Then formal qualification and certification, the professions usually require formal qualification and certification, but regulatory bodies, many professions are governed by regulatory bodies or professional organizations that set standards, codes of ethics, continuing education requirement. Then autonomy and responsibility, profession often involve a high degree of autonomy and responsibility. Professionals are expected to make judgment based on their expertise and held to high ethical standards. That is called as profession. When there is a expertise and training and you have a formal qualification and you are controlled by regulatory bodies and you have some responsibility, then it is called as you are in a profession. Then what is a occupation? And occupation is a broader term that refers to any type of job or series of job that a person holds, and this can include your professions, but it also includes trades, labor and other type of work. Less emphasis on specialized education. While some occupations are specialized training or skills, the level of formal education and certification required is generally less than the professional. So professional is more specialized, skill is needed. But what is the role of university professional and changing concern? I mean, different roles are there for the university professional. So what are the different role in teaching and research, extension function, managerial role? These are the three main things, but other important things are also there. So teaching is more than the formal transmission of expert discipline knowledge. It आपको जाना है तो उनकी speed करती. It is an inevitable invitation to independent critical learning. It is a support for independent critical learning by both the student and the teacher. The problem that occur in practice are in some respect unique, calling upon the teacher's professional knowledge. Learning, that is knowledge, and practice, that is teaching, is constituted and constitutive of the other. Then teaching can itself be understood to include an intrinsic dimension of learning and of invention. It is a form of research and art. So, teaching and research. Teaching is linked to the transmission of knowledge. Teaching does not mean classroom teaching, but also providing a leadership role in the university community. The university students themselves are at a frontier of knowledge, so the teacher themselves need to explore knowledge in their specialized area. So, these are the university teachers are somehow different. They will create knowledge. University is a place for creating knowledge. So, for creating knowledge, you have to be very specialized in your area. There is the method of teaching include the discussion, seminar, and research oriented activity. They will go for research. So all these things are there. Then, in a developing society like India, institutions of higher education have also an active role in evolving and maintaining a highly functional and dynamic link with the community. Extension function is much important. ଏବେ ତାକୁ କୁହାଯାଉଛି outreach activities. Community, how you are reaching your community, how you are helping, how you are useful to the community as a higher education institution, how you are useful to the community. And when you will link to the community, the students will acquire the skill. that type of skill, so that what is needed in the society. So extension function re taku ame kochu creation of excellence is not the only goal of such institution. It is perceived as an additional legitimate objective of an institution of higher education in a country like India to assume the status of pivotal or nodal agency. Then what managerial role is also there in 1960-70, education was accepted as a part of public or nodal national good. During the economic recession in the 1970s, this perception about education broke down and it was singled out for criticism as falling in its contribution to the creation of economic wealth, and the fallout of criticism was direct linking to the activity of education to economic benefit. So general acceptance of such condition meant that for teachers there would be in future be an expectation, then their professional activity would have to be more efficiently and effectively managed to produce economically tangible results. So ଯେତେବେଳେ ତମେ ଇକୋନୋମି କୁ କିଛି କଣ୍ଟ୍ରିବ୍ୟୁସନ ନ ଦଉଛ, ଏଜୁକେସନ ର କିଛି ଭ୍ୟାଲ୍ୟୁ ନାହିଁ ବା ଏଜୁକେସନ କୁ ଆମେ ଗୁଡ୍ ଇନଭେଷ୍ଟମେଣ୍ଟ ବୋଲି ଯେତେ ପର୍ଯ୍ୟନ୍ତ କହିପାରିବାନି, ତେଣୁ ଆମକୁ ଇକୋନୋମିକ ଭ୍ୟାଲ୍ୟୁକୁ କ୍ରିଏଟ୍ କରିବା ପାଇଁ ପଡ଼ିବ। ତ ସେଥିରେ ଟିଚରର ମ୍ୟାନେଜରିଆଲ ରୋଲ୍ ଆସିଲା ୟୁନିଭର୍ସିଟି ଟିଚର ମାନଙ୍କର। The curriculum has become more standardized. The pre-packaged curriculum compensate teacher for lack of preparation time, but in long term, they limit the intellectual emotional scope for teachers' work. The teacher, this means that they are able to exercise considerable professional autonomy over the selection of knowledge and complete autonomy ଦେବା ଦରକାର ସେମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯେ professional knowledge ସେମାନେ select କରିବେ। ଆପଣ ଯଦି କହିବେ ଯେ ନା ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ knowledge creation କରିବାର ଅଛି but you will set the guideline, ଆପଣଙ୍କୁ ଏଇ ପ୍ରୋଟୋକଲରେ ଯିବାର ଅଛି, then no knowledge will be created. So research and innovation ପାଇଁ some degree of freedom is essential so that creation of knowledge can occur. Then the traditional notion of teacher professionalism is reframed. The role of teacher in managing educational institution is being moved away from managing the curriculum towards managing task and system. ଏବେ teacher role change ହେଇଛି, ସେଠି ଆଉ ଖାଲି ପାଠ ପଢ଼େଇବା role teacher ନୁହେଁ, ତାର other role ମଧ୍ୟ ରହିଛି. Its responsibility for designing one's own curricula and one's own teaching decreased. Responsibility over technical task and management concern come to the forefront. All this pushes the teaching profession away from its traditional concern and activities towards a new direction. ସେଥିପାଇଁ ଏବେ କୁହାଯାଉଛି ଏବେ ଟିଚରକୁ ତମେ ଟିଚରରୁ shift toward teacher pruner. You are not a teacher, not only a teacher now, you are a teacher pruner. You have to shift yourself. So acquisition, transmission, and application of knowledge at university level. So acquisition, transmission, and application knowledge at the university level encompass a broad spectrum of methodology, strategy, and philosophies that facilitate learning, teaching, and research. These processes are fundamental to the mission of higher education institution, which aim to educate students, create knowledge, and apply this knowledge for societal benefit. Then acquisition of knowledge through ଆମେ ଯୋଉଟା କହିଲେ ସେଠି କେବଳ ପାଠ information sharing by information passing ନୁହେଁ, ସେଠି lecture and seminar, laboratory work, field study, independent study and research, digital learning platform, collaborative learning. All these are the strategies of learning in the university level. Curriculum development, teaching method, mentorship, conference, symposia. So these are through these activities the students are going to learn and create knowledge. They will be motivated towards the research. Innovation can be done in this process when the teachers will move. Then application of knowledge, research project, internship, and cooperative program, entrepreneurship, innovation, community engagement, policy development. What they are doing, what they are creating, they need to be applied in the community. Then university teaching a second order profession. Why? Is an insightful perspective that explores the nature of academic instruction, especially in the context of higher education. And this concept suggests that university teaching is not just about the direct application of knowledge in the field of such as engineering, medicine, law, but instead university teaching involves a meta level of engagement with knowledge. It's about the teaching how to understand, not only you understand, how to critique, how to create, how to apply. All these are the higher form of objectives that need to be achieved through the university education. So that's why it is also called as the second order profession and apply knowledge across the various disciplines. खाली information हमें pass कर दो. This is the first order profession. Second order profession, you have to go to the higher form of objectives. Then what are the common characteristics of university professional? The university teaching entails certain common experience and challenges. They are mostly related to communication, dealing with youth, creation of educationally meaningful experience, creation of knowledge. University teacher also share a community life on a campus. They are member of the community scholar and share a common group, that is the students ସହିତ ତାଙ୍କର ଗୋଟେ କମନ୍ ଗ୍ରୁପ୍ ଥାଏ and they also share common responsibility of acting as a watchdog and conscience keeper of the society and nation. So they have the responsibility, they have the accountability for the society. Then next is here towards a culture of professional development, professional ethics and values. So professional development ପାଇଁ ତାଙ୍କର the National Commission for Teacher 83-85 was one significant initiative in India aimed at reviewing the education system and making recommendation for improvement, including aspects related to teacher education, recruitment, training, professional standard. While the Commission covered a broad range of issues concerning teaching and the teaching profession. One of its aspects was indeed focused on professional ethics among the teachers. Very important aspect, that is your professional ethics. Then the moral responsibility is included in this and the standard expected of teacher in their professional conduct. And this include commitment to student, maintaining professional competency, behaving with honesty and integrity, ensuring equity and respecting diversity, and upholding the confidentiality and trust placed in them by the student and the as well as the community. Then professional ethics as per National Commission of Teachers से कहला कौन तो professional ethics अच्छी ना status, station, class, caste, creed, primacy over person को बेसी primary importance वन देबे in the scheme of social action. The accent should be on creative rationality rather than men should be viewed as capable of gaining mastery. These are the ethics of the teacher. Then professional values also acquisition, transmission of additional knowledge, social relevance of knowledge, decolonization of the third world mind, cultivation of excellence. Like this, you have some professional values, then professional development. These are the pedagogical training. These are the general things that are there. Okay. Then restricted, extended professionality, social change in higher education, how it is changing, helping in context of social change. এটা ଆଉଥରେ ବି ଆମେ ଥିଲା ପଢିଛେ ପୂର୍ବରୁ discussion ହେଇଛି. Then global awareness for economic development, global networking, social capital, social role of teacher in Indian context. Teachers organization, teacher need to be a part of the organization. Then okay, there is nothing much more important. Okay, then we will proceed to what are the questions, what are the questions that may come from this paper. Okay. Okay, our first part of discussion, are you listening? We are asking for questions. Okay, what may be the questions from here? What are the our first part was the aims of higher education, where some questions also I have said in the middle that you reflect on those things. That may be the question, like your what are the aims of higher education and how higher education is helping the society in its holistic development. Okay. Then another question may be, write or discuss about the development of higher education through different policies, or what is the historical perspective of higher education. Write the historical or discuss about the historical perspective of higher education. Then another question may be included or as a part of the question it can be added, like what are the different constitutional provisions regarding higher education. Discuss about the constitutional provisions regarding higher education, and it may be a part question also with the development of higher education. What are the discuss the process of development of higher education and discuss the constitutional provision regarding higher education in the Indian Constitution. It may be another question, two question, three. Third question may be alternate question. These are the possibilities of questions. That what is 5-year plan, and mention the development of higher education during different 5-year plans. So this may be another question, and the questions which we have discussed, like your higher education and problems of contemporary Indian society and open and distance learning, this may be as a short note. This may come, or this may come as a part question with the other questions, like your what are the different aims of higher education, how it is contributing towards the social development. Then reflect on the problems of higher education in the contemporary Indian society. Okay, and open and distance learning or NAC accreditation council, National Accreditation Council, these may come as supports. Okay, anything you want to ask? Is there anything you want to ask? You can ask. Any question, any doubt, or any help you need? Okay, then this is all about the questions what we have discussed from starting day 1 to day 6. So these are some of the questions also you can prepare yourself for your exam. And if any doubt, later also you can contact. Okay, thank you. Thank you for listening patiently. So let's end our session now.